Cars on the warm-up lap now for race 3 in round 2 of the Fujitsu V8 Supercar Series. The front row is left vacant, so Steve Owen and Tim Slade will line up from positions 1 and 2 on what is effectively row number 2. But this is an aggregate wheel of the first 2 races, so if you've had one bad race and one good one, you have a chance here to make up some time. Dean Canto from position 9.
Absolutely, consistency is everything through race 1 and 2. We've got the reverse grid race to deal with, and now it's the aggregate, so it's all on. This is where it counts.
Dale Wood and Grant Den, you have to do it again from down the back of the field. They've got a long, long way to go. Steve Owen, the winner of the opening round in Adelaide. Tim Slade, a repaired car after a crash in Adelaide on the outside of row 1. David Reynolds in last year's championship winning car for Tony D'Alberto Racing on the inside from position 3. Jonathan Webb's next. Mark McNally and Jack Perkins set for a start. Green flag at the rear of the grid. Wakefield Park is away. Reynolds slow to get running from the jump. Colin Cedars out through the dirt. Tar around. Dale Wood launched into the side of Clayton Pine. More drama down at turn 2. Mark McNally's around. There's cars going every which way. There's a dust cloud. Half the field must be involved in this.
I can't believe this. This is a bit like Spa in 1998.
There's cars coming from everywhere. And Clayton Pine even couldn't see, ended up in the door of Taz Douglas. There must be at least 10, 11, 12 cars involved in this, and it was all triggered off, I think, from Mark McNally was spun at turn 2, and then the dust storm meant that no one knew where they were.
I was fearing this would happen. It all started on the start line there where Dale Wood and Clayton Pine got into trouble. As everyone gathered themselves up, there's a second incident where McNally's gone round, and we've just seen this with the dust and the lack of vision. It's been a complete 10, 11, 12 car pile-up.
That's Jeff Emery's car, the former Commodore Cup champion. Taz Douglas has had such a tough weekend. The Hitachi Falcon missed one of the races. Shane Bykoff back for his first round this weekend. Colin Cedars' car has had contact front and rear. Officials have red flagged the race. That's the only call to make. I've never seen that many cars wiped out in one corner.
I just can't believe it, and there's so many damaged V8 supercars there, and hopefully everyone's unscathed and we can have a look at actually what happened here.
Now there was a separate incident here. There was contact between, it looked like one of the Tag Motorsport cars and Clayton Pine that sent Pine into the side of Dale Wood. This was separate. Look for Mark McNally with the fluoro bumper, just loses the rear end. A little bit hard to tell there whether he had some contact. Everyone took avoiding action. There's Jeff Emery, his teammate Tony Bates. Brett Hobson gets hit a couple of times. And the dust is the biggest factor in all of that. It looks like all of the drivers are stepping out of the cars, but there is one serious repair bill here for a lot of teams who don't have massive budgets for the next round of the series at Sandown.
Yeah, that's right, and it's a real shame. Luckily, there's a couple of months till the next round. Hopefully, everyone will be on the grid at Sandown, but as we can see, it's a very quick turn 1, leading into quite a tight turn 2. And here's the initial incident with Wood and Pine.
And Wood was actually down the right-hand side of the road and was speared into by Clayton Pine, who spun off the front of, it looked like it was perhaps the Jeff Emery car that launched him across, and you can see there.
That's what everyone can see heading into turn 2, and
here's
quite a narrow
angle.
Circuit. Once a couple of cars are blocking the track, what hope has anyone got?
Oh, Dale Wood
big hit.
Launched in the A and High helicopter services. It was more like the A and High there, but I'm not sure there are enough tow trucks in all of Goulburn to clean this mess up.
No, I wouldn't think so. I think we've got 15 cars badly damaged there at the moment.
A lot of damaged race cars. There's plenty of running repairs on some of the not quite so damaged cars. Hopefully they can be on the grid for the restart, which is after the break. Back at Wakefield Park for a complete restart to the third and final race. From the 29 cars that attempted to start this race, we're left with just 19.
Absolutely. Fortunately, a couple of the cars from the incident have been repaired, and now we've got a grid a bit shorter than we had before.
So Tim Slade gets another chance to square off against Steve Owen, who is in a commanding position to claim the round. There are holes everywhere on the grid, but let's get race 3 going. 20 laps the distance, and again Tim Slade makes a very solid start on the the run to turn 2, but Steve Owen has the line.
He has. Tim very sensibly tucked right in behind Steve Owen there. He knew I could not go around the outside there. We've seen what happens when cars are running side by side. Only one gets through the corner.
The long run back up the hill, and already Owen on cold tyres, pushing clear. Slade is second. Jonathan Webb is third. Drew Russell there in the mid-pack has had a great weekend on his way through the field. There's Sam Walter just a little bit wide on the exit, but it really is critical now to get into that rhythm and get the tyre temperatures up.
Absolutely. We've seen in the past 2 races drivers making mistakes left, right and centre, and they've really got to, over these 20 laps, put their head down, drive nice and calm. These cars, they really eat into their tyres over a race distance. The car loses grip lap by lap. You've got to adjust the roll bars on the go. You've really just got to stay calm and make no mistakes. It sounds easy, but I can guarantee you it's damn tough.
We saw Grant Denyer there trying to work his way through the field. You can hear the cars now. Look at all that dirt and debris that's still there at turn 2. That can be tricky. Tim Slade slipping off the road. Just rejoins right in front of his own housemate, Jack Perkins.
Yeah, the 2 housemates, I can vouch for that one, but Tim's run wide. He's gathered it up. He hasn't lost too much ground, fortunately. Hopefully he can just keep his head down here. There's still a lot at stake. He can still get back up there.
Webb now position 2. David Reynolds in 3rd spot. Really starting to come to grips with the V8 Supercar. Perkins on the dirt on the run down into turn 8. But Reynolds, the Carrera Cup champ from last season, had a tough weekend in Adelaide in the first round, but really starting to come to grips with this car.
Yeah, it's great. We know how good Dave Reynolds is. He's won the Australian Formula 4 Championship. He's won the Carrera Cup Championship. But getting his head around these V8s has been a bit harder than he thinks. Great move from Trimble there, up the inside of Walter. He's had great form, Trimble, actually, this year. He's got into the V8 pretty quickly, and he's Jack Perkins' teammate, and he's showing some really good speed, and he had a shocker in race 1. Well, it looks like he's getting right back up the pointy end here. He's had great speed. He's just had one issue after another.
Dean Canto charging back through. He now is up to position 7, having started in 11th on the grid, and there's plenty of cars with all sorts of battle scars.
There is. 3rd race. We know what V8 Supercars is all about. Rubbings racing, and by race 3 there's generally a few patched up panels, and Canto's got the eyes on. He knows he had that issue in the last race where he threw away a potential race win, and now he's going all out from the back of the grid, and he is in a fantastic position at the moment.
Word from the pits was that he said that the car jumped out of 3rd gear down there, but whatever was the case, it really hurt in the championship, so he's hunting down Michael Trimble in the ex-Perkins Motorsport Commodore. Sam Walter just in behind, and Dean Canto will join up with Ford Performance Racing for the L&H 500 at Phillip Island, and also the big one, the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000, but he's putting some real pressure here on Michael Trimble.
He is, and Michael's just got to put his head down, drive his own race. We know Dean's very experienced, he's very quick, and he is on a mission. You know, he doesn't want to settle for 7th position, so he's going to be on a charge and looking at any opportunity to get under Trimble here.
Steve Owen, the race leader in the Tintercar Commodore, spreading clear of the field, but Dean Canto, the Howard Racing Falcon, as you mentioned earlier, with Dick Johnson Racing engines again this year. They had a test at Queensland Raceway recently where they tested some new brake pad combinations, and he's certainly working them out now.
He is. He's pushing very, very hard, and Wakefield Park is all about brakes. It's all about getting the car turned, and it's all about trying to get 650 horsepower down to the ground. And he's out-braked Trimble now. Nice, clean move. Trimble's given him room, pretty sensible. And Canto onto his next victim, Tim Slade.
He's got a bit of work to do to catch the Slade Speed Commodore. Cars sound fantastic as they echo off that guardrail down the front straight. There's Marcus Sukanovic, of course, no longer with the Opus Prime backing after that company had some well-publicised troubles recently, so no fear is on the side of the Action Racing Commodore. Closing up on the Tasmanian Sam Walter, and not afraid to use the curbs.
No, V8 Supercars love curbs. It's very important when you're working with your engineer, trying to get the car to ride those curbs nicely without sacrificing any cornering grip. It's always a compromise in setup in these cars.
Marcus Sukanovic tested at Winton before this round, but it was a bit of a cold and wet and windy day, so he only did some 30 or so laps in the ex-Garth Tander Toll HSV Commodore, but Jay Vernick in behind here, and Marcus looks pretty pacey here, but just can't find a way by Sam Walter.
And it is difficult. It's a one-lane track at the moment with all the dust on the circuit. That's why we're seeing so many mistakes, and Marcus just has to bide his time and wait for the opportunity to come up, and when it does, pounce and commit to it 100%.
And I guess too that with this race being shortened, it may change it around for some of the drivers who have set their cars up to come on later in the race. There is no later in the race because the race has been shortened.
It's all on now, and you can have a V8 supercar set up for qualifying where it generates temperature in the tyre.
Oh, Jack Perkins, a mistake. Slade's through, Canto's through, and he's off again.
You can see there, once he was out wide in the marbles, he could not get back online. And once you get that build-up of rubber and dirt on your tyres, it takes half a lap to clear, and that'll take a while till he gets back up to speed.
The run through turn 9, Sam Walter under pressure here from Zekanovic. He covers the line at turn 10. It's pretty early to be playing defensive, so Jay Verdnick fills the gap up the inside in the GIO Commodore. So these are two ex-Toll HSV dealer team cars squaring off.
The field's full of ex-Walkinshaw, ex-Stone Brothers, ex-Perkins cars. There's some fantastic cars out there, and it's great where the ex-Level 1 cars can find a home and still race for years to come.
Jack Perkins, this is the replay of his little mistake, or the second of his runs off the road over the back. He's fighting back. Look back in the pack there. That was a touch between Zekanovic and Sam Walter that sent the Greg Murphy Racing Commodore off the circuit, and once you're off, it's hard to find a gap in the traffic to get back.
We've seen that all weekend, and it's single file, bumper to bumper racing here, and there's plenty of nudging, nose to tail. Get out of my way, I'm coming through.
And just behind this fight between Zekanovic and Jay Verdnick is young Drew Russell in the blue Commodore, the Novocastrian motorsport machine, which has been up-spec from a VX last year to VZ this year. This is a team running on really limited funds, but they are doing a fantastic job. Just his second year in the Fujitsu series, Drew Russell. His father, Wayne, a former V8 driver and production car racer himself. He is really doing a great job here, but this is the contact, and perhaps that was a bit ambitious.
Yeah, no comment there. I'll leave that to the stewards. He certainly created a gap that wasn't there.
Yeah, a little bit of contact, not quite in the gap. Got the spot, but I've got the feeling he might have to have a chat with the stewards. Steve Owen, leading the Tintercar Commodore, is on fire this weekend. Back in car with the Mack Trucks, in car with Jack Perkins. And you could just see there, it looked like the meatball flag being displayed at the start-finish line. And we're hearing from pit lane that it's for Steve Owen in the race-leading car, and that's the reason why. Look there, the rear bumper, the section underneath the fuel tank, looks like it's just started to come adrift.
This is always such a tough call. How much damage is that going to do? Is it going to fall off? I mean, he's comfortably leading the race, and this would be so painful for him and his team right now to have to come in and take that off. It destroys their whole weekend, and it's always a 50-50 call, who's right and who's wrong, and this is, I hate seeing this, you know. I know how Steve must be feeling right now.
Jonathan Webb in second spot, David Reynolds there in the on-time Commodore in third, and Steve Owens disappeared, so he's gone to pit lane to respond to the meatball flag and to have that rear bumper section cleaned up. That now throws open not just the race, but the round result also.
All these guys have just seen Steve Owen pull into the pits. They've all got an opportunity for a win right now, and you can see Dean Canto going for the win, up to fourth gear. Very exciting corner here. He'll use lots of curb, setting himself up for the double right-handers here. Third gear, keeping on the racing line. Nice tight apex into here. As I said before, it's one of those tight circuits where slow in, fast out is the key. As soon as you start driving too hard here, your times just go down, and there's plenty of long, tight corners, nice and smooth on the throttle. I can't tell you how hard it is trying to get all that throttle and all that horsepower down to the ground. Oh. And Jonathan Webb's made another mistake. Reynolds.
Whoa, hang on to it. No, gone.
Oh,
he made a mistake. Tried to clean it up, but ended up making another one.
Well, that mistake started about 300 metres down the road, and that shows how tough it is for these guys. You know, he was in trouble coming out of turn 9. He came back onto the track, dirt on the tyres, locked the rear wheels, and
here it is again, a little bit sideways on the exit of 9, out through the dirt. Reynolds goes right, and I thought he was okay here, but then the rear comes around, locks up the rear brakes, in too deep, dirt on the tyres, gone.
I'll tell you what he did. He came back onto the track there, and he saw Reynolds have a lunge up the inside. So Webby's he's gone late on the break to try and defend from Reynolds, and clearly that was too deep, and he was gone.
So David Reynolds assumes the lead in race 3. Marcus Sukanovic, though, is going to have to take a drive-through penalty for that contact with Sam Walter. We'll take a stop in the pits too. Back with the finish after the break. It's been a wild day at Wakefield Park, and it's not over yet. The third and final race in the Fujitsu V8 Supercar Series. And David Reynolds leading the way for Holden with Dean Canto in behind. A mistake, though, on the run back down the hill. And Canto now takes the lead. This is the race that no one wants to lead.
It is. I mean, it's difficult conditions out there. It's a very tricky circuit. There's lots of dust on the racing line. These guys are just trying too hard and making too many errors. Dave, it was very minimal there. I just saw him turn in with half a tyre on the dirt, and he lost the rear on the turn into the fast turn 8.
Here's the
replay. You can see here, he's just turned in off the outside of the circuit and just instant oversteer. He's tried to correct it, but another trip through the grass for him, and he's thrown away a possible round win there.
Here's Steve Owen fighting back, trying to salvage some points in this last race. He's still in 17th, and a change this year. The points are paid right through the field, not just for the top 15 as was the case in last year's series. He's just in behind Damien Assaylet in the Fujitsu race image car. Jack Perkins right in behind David Reynolds on the run down to turn 1.
Jack into turn 2 here, one of the only circuits in the country where you don't actually pull 6th gear down the main straight. Third, flat shift 4th gear. He's got the eyes on Reynolds. Holds 4th gear through turn 4, up on the curb, down to 3rd. Touch the curb, hard on the power, on the brakes, really focusing on keeping the car online. You can hear the wheel spin there in 3rd gear. Short shift to 4th, quite a quick corner here. Hard on the brakes into this long turn 8. Really important to get the front in. Now just trying to squeeze the throttle. Short shift to 3rd gear. You can hear the rear of the car stepping out. Juggling the rear of the car, hard on the power in 4th. Dropping a wheel on the dirt. Just touching the limiter in 4th gear. Hard on the brakes, straight to 2nd gear. Patient on the throttle. Wait for the car to be straight before you unleash that throttle and try and get maximum drive onto the straight.
He's following David Reynolds in the car that won the championship last year, and Reynolds had a tyre lock-up in qualifying, so he effectively binned one tyre, so he's only had 7 tyres to use rather than 8 over the course of the 3 races. So I guess having a shorter race in this last one has helped him out.
It has, and tyres are absolutely everything in a V8 supercar. They're a very powerful car, they're very aggressive on the tyre, and we've got to work with what we've got. And putting yourself in a disadvantage from the word go and having 7 tyres instead of 8 is naturally always tough, but they've done a great job, they've soldiered on, and Dave's had a fantastic weekend.
The last lap in race 3, Dean Canto rebuilding a weekend and rebuilding a championship for Howard Racing. He's going to bring it from turn 10 and fight his way back to take a checkered flag for Ford and for Howard Racing. The 2-time champ is home in race 3 at Wakefield Park Raceway. But Tim Slade, lights ablaze, he is 2nd in the race. He wins his first ever V8 round.
I couldn't be happier for Tim Slade. Great young bloke, works hard, and full credit to him and his guys.
Dean Canto, the winner with a new lap record. Michael Trimble home in 3rd spot. Outside the top 10, Carl Reindler clear of Sam Walter, and Brett Holdsworth in 13th. But for Steve Owen, position 14, a really tough one to take. Tim Slade, the round winner, 16 points clear of David Reynolds, but Steve Owen manages to salvage a spot on the podium. The Tintercar Commodore is 3rd.
Apparently the rear bumper was loose, but no one else could see it, and it took 4 blokes to pull it off when we came in. So, I mean, this sport's, getting more and more professional all the time, and I think, the fans deserve better, Tintercar deserve better, we're miles in front, and that sort of thing happens. So, I mean, it's disappointing. What else can you say?
I had my fair share of moments as well, like the other guys, but just fortunate enough not to actually sort of spin or lose any position. So I'd be happy just to step on the number 3 podium there, but it's great to be standing on the top one.
Tim Slade breaks through for his first round win in the Fujitsu series, and David Reynolds stands on the podium too. for his first time as well. But it's Steve Owen who retains the championship lead after 2 rounds. The independent race cars pair of Jack Perkins and Michael Trimble are 2nd and 3rd, and Tim Slade now rockets his way to 4th in the points. Dale Wood and Jay Vernick round out the top 10 in the championship. So the champagne flies at Wakefield Park. A first-time winner in Tim Slade. The Fujitsu V8s are back for their first ever trip to Sandown. Round 3 on the Queen's birthday weekend, June 7 to 9. And the V8s are back in Hamilton next weekend in New Zealand, April 19 to 20. On behalf of Will Davison, I'm Aaron Noonan. We'll see you next time with the Fujitsu V8 Supercars. Yellow me.